Welcome back, everyone. Today I'd like to do a review on some transom wheels that I bought. I bought me a Briz boat, 12.5-foot boat, and I lugged it around for about a day and a half and realized that I definitely need some transom wheels put on there. So I bought me a pair off of Amazon, and we're going to look at them and see how to get them installed and see what we think about them. Well, I'm ready to install my transom wheels. I've got everything I need here as far as tools. The wheels came in. Bought them from Amazon. Of course, here's the box, and it came with of course both wheels, the supports, 2 bolts for the axles, the wheels, 2 mounting brackets, and 4 bolts per bracket to mount them to the transom, and then 4 snap-on clips to hold the wheels in place. So we're going to put this together and see if how good it works. And these were not that expensive. They're not inflatable. They're solid rubber, so they'll last a long time. Briz, on their webpage, they had some transom wheels, but they were kind of expensive. Got to looking around on Amazon and found these, and they were a lot cheaper. And from what I can tell, they're really good quality. I'm pleased with the structural integrity of the angle iron and the pieces and the supports, and everything looks really good and strong and looks like it'll last a long time to me. I'm happy with them. As far as tools, I need a drill and a level and a marker pen and our tape measure, and we're going to mount these things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mount one right here, right next to the edge of this seam here, and right above the seam on the bottom. And I want to mount them as low as I can get and as wide as I can get, so they'll be more stable. So I'm thinking somewhere like right in there is where I'm going to mount these for my boat. And of course there's these brackets here that prevent it from going any higher, of course. So I think it's about right in here. It looks good to me. And so we're going to get these measured up and make sure they're in the right spot and get them marked and drill our holes, and so see how this works. Well, I'm installing the mounting brackets now, but there's a couple of things that you need to watch out for when you're mounting your brackets, and that is do a kind of preliminary test and make sure you're in the right location there to clear a couple of things. One of them, make sure that your wheels clear the pontoons in the back, and looks like we're got maybe 1.5 inches or so clearance there between the wheel and the pontoon, the boat. So I'm going to mount it about right there, and as far as, so that's a good location there. We got a good clearance with our wheel. And then on the inside, we need to make sure that we're high enough to miss this plastic support bracket down here that holds the aluminum flooring in. So we want to make sure that our holes don't come through this plastic bracket here. We want to, of course, be above that, so we can measure down from the top to make sure we're clear and not get into this bracket down here. So I'm going to measure down here from the top of the boat down to the top of this plastic bracket here that keeps the aluminum floor down. Make sure that we clear that whenever we drill our holes. It looks like we're right at 12 inches foot, and so I want to measure down out here on the opposite side down 12 inches, and it looks like right there about the top of that seam, right there about the top of that seam. So as long as our holes are above that seam, we're okay. And like I said earlier, right in here, about this area right here is going to give me clearance, so whenever I raise the wheels, I'll clear the pontoon here. So right in there is about where I need to put my bracket. Make sure of all this before you drill any holes. Well, I'm installing the brackets now. First thing I noticed in installing these brackets is I need to get the boat level, which I've got the boat level, and then measure down from top of the boat down to the bracket to make the brackets level with the top of the boat. And also when you put the bracket on there and level the bracket up, then the bracket will be straight up and down, perpendicular to the boat itself. So top of the boat level, then the bracket and the support tubing for the wheel to be level, and which I've done, and I've got it marked, and I've got it level and marked where I want it. And then I've made sure that with the wheel on there, it will clear the pontoon part of the boat whenever it's raised up. On my boat, there's a hard plastic bracket to hold the aluminum flooring down. You want to be above that and make sure your holes don't come out through that, and low enough below this specification plate here. So there's a couple things to watch out for, and I think we're good on all of that. I got them both marked. And so now it's just a matter of drilling them. Start off with this one here. It's not too bad. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bracket on there and hold it in place with the finish nut on the other side. Line that up with my marks and drill the opposite corner. And go ahead and get the other three started. Go ahead and drill these through. And that fits nicely. And as you notice, I wanted to make sure I was clearing. You can see down there that plastic, hard piece of plastic down here that supports the aluminum floor of the boat. And there's the instructions that came with the transom wheels. And they were pretty good instructions, pretty basic, but not pretty much how to install it on the boat. That has to be figured out on your own. According to the instructions, the washer and the lock washer, they go on the outside. So on this side, next to the bolt head, go the lock washer and the washer both. And just the finish nut goes on the other side. Well, we're gonna tighten up our bolts here for our bracket. It's cinching up into that plywood. That really needs a washer on it. Now, one thing I noticed when tightening up these bolts, that this is a marine plywood transom, and it started pulling through, which I don't like. It started pulling through the plywood, and so I'm going to back this off, and you can see where it is pulling through the plywood there, the nut is. So I'm going to add a washer on for right now, but I am going to modify, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a longer bolt so it'll stick out further out here, and I'm going to get me a metal bracket to put over this whole area here with 4 holes drilled in it, to where the bracket will be a lot stronger connection, to where it won't be pulling through this plywood like it's doing now. So I will add another video later on and show you what I'm doing here, just for extra strength there, because I'm really not happy with the way that's going together. According to the instructions, which is fine, there's a lock washer, regular small washer, that goes into the bracket. And then I'm adding another washer that they don't add or show or provide, and then put the finish nut there. for temporary use right now, because I'm using my boat tomorrow. But I am going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to get me a metal bracket that goes around this area right here to better support, so these don't pull through that marine plywood if there's any load on those tires. So I'm just going to add extra bracket for support. But right now, at least I'm going to put a washer on there to add some strength to where there's more surface area there, to less likely to pull through that marine plywood. I think that's a little bit poor design on their part. Now I can tighten them up, but still be careful about tightening them up, because you can still pull that washer through that marine grade. I'm just gonna tighten it up to where it's really snug, and that'll probably work for a permanent fix or situation. That's plenty good enough there. So that's what I found out in my experience putting this thing together. Well, we're going to go over how to install these wheels. We already got our bracket put on here, and we made sure we had enough clearance between the pontoon part of the boat and the wheel, which we do. So now we want to go over how to install this wheel onto the rectangular tubing here, the support bracket for the wheel. Of course, the Briz sends these out in this typical standard transom wheels that you can buy. Come with a bolt, 2 washers, a regular hex nut, and a finish nut. And the way this goes on, it's kind of not really clear, wasn't clear to me on the instructions, but this is the correct way to do it. Got your bracket, bolt goes through here, then the nut, not the finish nut, but the regular nut goes next. And you can tighten it up with a wrench if you want, but finger tight will suffice. And then next comes one of the washers. Now, of course, this washer, purpose of it is to reduce the friction between the nut and the wheel itself. And on this wheel, there's an extruded part on one side and a recessed part on the other. And the extruded part side goes next. It goes against the bracket and against the washer. And so there's less friction here, of course, the reason for the washer there, spacer washer. And then on the other side, of course, you got your washer, then this finish nut. And this one you can tighten up with your wrenches, and of course not too tight. You want to make sure your wheel's able to spin. What I really like about these wheels is they're not inflatable, they're solid rubber, they'll last forever. And these wheels they come with Briz as really nice quality made. I'm really happy with them. The structural components of everything, real easy to snap on and off, which we'll demonstrate here in a minute. But that's how the wheel goes on. The extruded part up against the bracket, the support bracket, and then right here, and then of course we made sure we had enough clearance in the maneuvering of the wheel there against the pontoon. That's really critical, which we went over already on the installation of the bracket. So we're going to put our tighten these up. Like I said, just tight enough to make it snug and to where it turns. Now what I've done, what I found easy to install these wheels, of course remove the brackets. And what I've done is I will pick up one side of the boat and just kind of put it between my legs here to hold it up a little bit. You can figure out a different method if you want. And of course these just go in there like this, snap on, and we got the other snapped on here. So that's one, and we got the other wheel put on there. Of course, now this makes the boat a whole lot easier to maneuver around, and then of course to remove them, you just simply remove the brackets. Now you can, if you want, you can remove one bracket, fold them up like this, and then leave them installed on the boat But of course you'll have to mount them down lower. There's 3 sets of screws here, so if you want to mount them to where you can leave them mounted vertically like that on the boat, then you can just mount them down here in these lower 2 holes, which we'll demonstrate that real quick here. We will install on the lower 2 set of holes and raise it up. Put this bracket in, and there we go with the wheels raised up vertically. If you want to leave them attached to the boat like that. So either way works well both ways. It makes it a whole lot easier to maneuver and move this boat around. Well, here we have the wheels installed, and we've got them in the upright position in case you want to leave them on the boat permanently while you're using the boat. You can flip them up and put them on here, or you can remove them, take them off altogether if they feel like they're in your way while you're out rafting or using the boat. But this is what they look like on there. If you want to take them off, of course, you just take the pins out, and it's easy to, if you want to reverse it down to where you want to use them, or you can take them off altogether. But if you want to use them here to load the boat or unload the boat, release the pins, of course. This one goes down, and then like I said, you can just raise the boat up and slip this one in here. You have to get them lined up just right. Snap it in. Now you're ready to transport your boat, and it's all ready to go. So you can leave them in the upright position while you're using the boat, or you can take them off completely. If you leave them in the upright position while using the boat, then it's real easy just to lower them back down. You don't have to go to the car to get them, or the truck, and they're already on the boat there. So it's a personal choice, personal preference on how you want to manage the transom wheels on your boat. Well, we got our transom wheels installed, and now I'm going to show you how easy it is to maneuver this boat with the wheels. I've been dragging this boat without the wheels, and it was really hard. It made a huge difference getting these transom wheels installed on there. Just real easy to maneuver it. As you can see, just with one hand you can roll the boat around any direction you want. Of course, they say that's man's #1 best invention is the wheel. So, anyway, there's a review there on the transom wheels and installation and how good they are to maneuver your boat around. So hope that helps you out and you enjoy the video, and again I ask you to subscribe to more videos that we have, more information that we can provide for you, so we appreciate that. So hope this helps you a lot.